Chapter 3. Poor Iggy. When Mum and Dad woke me up in the morning, I heard a strange sound. It was Iggy. Iggy normally sings and chatterboxes when we are waking up, but today she was just groaning. It was quite loud. "Can you hear that?" said Mum. "Yes," I said. "Why is she doing that?" "She's not very well, Flo," Mum said. "Poor Iggy," I said. "Not very well how?" Mum said, "She's got a bad tummy. She's been up all night. We've hardly slept a wink." Before breakfast, I went into Iggy's room to see her. She was a bit of a funny colour. "Are you all right?" I said. "No," Iggy said, and she shivered even though she was under all her covers, up to her chin. "Are you cold?" I said. "No," said Iggy, frowning at me. "I'm boiling." And then I had to get out of the way because she needed to go to the loo double quick. All that day and the next, Iggy didn't do any smiling. She didn't want to play, not even schools or shops or hospitals. She didn't want to eat anything, definitely not cake. She didn't want to really even read a book or watch anything on telly. She just stayed in her bed and was all hot and cold and went to the loo a lot. At first it was peaceful. You could draw a picture or do your homework or make a piece of toast without anyone interrupting. You could be on your own if you wanted without anyone making a fuss. You could start a game and play it until you were finished without anybody changing the rules. At first it was fine, but after a while it didn't feel right. It was like a bit of Iggy had fallen out and she wasn't Iggy anymore. Dad missed her singing while she cleaned her teeth. Mum missed her playing a tune every time she walked past the piano, even when she was supposed to be in a hurry. I missed her talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour and always making me laugh. I wanted Iggy to get better and come back. Mum and Dad agreed. The next day, Mum took Iggy to the doctor. The doctor gave her some pink medicine. He said she had to rest and stay off school and only eat a very little of what she fancied. That night, Iggy still didn't fancy anything except some sips of water. She went up the stairs very slowly, like she was climbing a big mountain, and she went straight to bed. "Oh dear," Mum said. "She's not so good." Dad shook his head. "Poor Iggy," I said. In the morning, Iggy fancied Rice Krispies with sugar and no milk. Mum took it up to her room on a tray. We are never normally allowed to eat Rice Krispies with sugar and no milk. We are never, ever normally allowed to eat in bed. Iggy had 2 bowls. I went up to say goodbye to her before school. I said, "Is your tummy better?" "No," said Iggy, her mouth full. When I got home from school, Iggy wasn't in bed. She was tucked up on the sofa under a blanket. She had a drink and a yoghurt and 3 biscuits all lined up on a little table beside her. She had the remote control for the TV in her hand. She was watching cartoons. "I'm sick," she said, with a really big grin on her face. I put my school bag down and took off my shoes. "I know," I said. "I had to just sit here all day," she said, without taking her eyes off the telly. "Okay," I said. "And I had to eat things like that I don't normally eat." "Can I have a biscuit?" I said. "Nope," said Iggy. "Why not?" I said. "Germs," Iggy said. "You might catch them." Just then, Mum came in with a snack for me, a peanut butter sandwich and an apple and a glass of milk. Iggy's voice went all wobbly and weak and feeble. "Can I have a sandwich?" she said. "What do you want in it?" Mum asked. "Peanut butter and Marmite and cheese," she said. Mum and me said, "Together?" "Together." "It's delicious," Iggy said, in her smallest, quietest, sickest voice. "How's your tummy?" Mum said. "Sore," Iggy said. "Oh dear," said Mum. But as soon as Mum left, Iggy munched on a biscuit. When Dad came home, the first thing he said was, "How's the patient?" "Tired," Iggy said in her smallest, sleepiest voice. "Much better," said Mum. "No, I'm not," said Iggy. "Well, you sit there," Dad said, and me and Mum and Flo will look after you. Iggy thought of a new thing we could get her about every 3 minutes. First it was her pencil case, then it was a glass of milk, then it was her other pencil case and a sketchbook and a kangaroo and a nail varnish and a cut-up apple. Is it your tummy that's not working or your legs? Dad said, and Iggy frowned at him. It's my tummy, silly, she said. My legs are perfectly fine. Are you sure? Dad said. Have you checked? Iggy scowled at him while he had a peep under the blanket to see if her legs were still there. When she finished scowling, she clutched her tummy and groaned. Ow! She said. Oh! She opened one eye to make sure we were watching while she did it. Oh dear, Dad said. If you're that sick, you'd better go straight to bed. Iggy stopped groaning straight away. I don't want to go to bed, she said. Yes, you do, Dad said, and he whisked her up the stairs and tucked her in nicely. When Dad came back, he said, So how are we going to make Iggy better? She is better, Mum said. I know that, Dad said, and you know that. But how do we make Iggy know she's better? I said, I'm sure she'll get better in time for her birthday. Mum and Dad looked at each other. Mum said, Of course she will. Dad said, Because if she's not better, her birthday will be cancelled. If Iggy is still sick, Mum said, she'll have to stay in bed for the whole thing. Dad winked at Mum. Then he said, Flo, I think you should go and tell her. So I went upstairs and into Iggy's room. She was drawing a picture and eating a biscuit. She hid it under the covers when I walked in. I said, I need to tell you something. What? Iggy said. She brushed the biscuit crumbs off her covers and onto the floor. I think your birthday's going to get cancelled. What's cancelled? Iggy said. She didn't look too worried. When something's cancelled, I said, it means it doesn't happen. Iggy stopped chewing. Like sports day, she said. Our school had a sports day, but it rained and rained and rained. Instead of the egg and spoon race and the mums and dads race, we did normal lessons, and there weren't any prizes. Like sports day, I said. Iggy's chin wobbled and her eyes filled up with water. It's going to happen to my birthday, she said. I don't know, I said. Maybe if you're sick. Dad said. Dad said? Yep. Iggy started to sniffle. Does that mean I'll have to stay 5? She said. I don't want to stay 5. It doesn't mean you'll stay 5, I said. It just means you won't have a party and fun stuff. You have to have a party on your birthday, Iggy said. You can't not have the fun stuff. I know, I said. I want the fun stuff, Iggy said. Then you can't be sick anymore, I said. You have to get better. Is that all? Iggy said. I said, I think so. Okay, Iggy said. She got out from under her covers. What are you doing? I said. I'm better, Iggy said. It's bedtime, I said. You can get better in the morning. Okay, Iggy said, and she got into bed. Good night, I said. Night, Flo, Iggy said. In the morning, Iggy was up very early. My clock said something beginning with 6, which is much earlier than getting up time. I heard her walk into Mum's and Dad's room. I heard her say, I'm better. Good, said Mum. Great, said Dad. So don't do a sports day on my birthday, Iggy said. What? Mum said, and Dad said, Am I still asleep? I'm better, so I can be 6 and have a party and all the fun stuff, said Iggy. Okay? Dad laughed and Mum said, Okay. Iggy came into my room. I opened one eye. She was dressed in her school uniform. I'm better, she said. I know, I said. I heard you. My birthday is back, she said. That's good. I'm glad. Will you wake up now? She said. It's too early, I said. Mum and Dad are still in bed, she said. I opened both eyes. I've got a good idea, I said. What? Said Iggy. Let's go downstairs and eat Rice Krispies with sugar and no milk before they get up, I said. So we did.